Hello everyone, welcome to our group's article presentation. This research article is about exploring the use of collaborative writing in an EFL classroom context. Today the presentation is divided into three parts. This is Meng Pan. I will introduce the first part, the background questions, aim and significance of this research. After that, my group members Bingying and Yongxin will present the back parts in turn. First, let's look at the background of this study. It focused on the EFL context in Taiwan, where improving writing ability is a common pursuit. However, a typical characteristic is that learners are under exam-oriented education. Hence, in such a teaching context, despite there are English language learning reforms, researchers still found some difficulties and negative effects. Based on the general context, researchers' research interests in recent years have focused on these areas, such as technology-assisted and interactive learning and collaborative writing, to pursue the better L2 use in writing. However, the author argued that some aspects deserve further exploration, such as how collaborative writing can be more effectively implemented in the traditional Taiwanese classroom and test-oriented writing context. Moreover, the author reviewed relevant studies on the effects of collaborative writing on writing performance. Here, I will briefly introduce the key concepts that will be involved in author's subsequent study. In addition to general research on collaborative writing tasks and dialogue analysis, the author will take towards 4 interaction patterns for pair allocation that are collaborative, expert to novice, dominant to dominant, and dominant to passive models. These are defined in terms of the degree of equal contribution and mutual involvement of both pairs. The author will then also examine the impact of collaborative writing on writing quality by analyzing complexity, accuracy, and fluency. Therefore, this study aimed to explore the impact of implementing collaborative writing in the Taiwanese EFL classroom on the level of complexity, accuracy, and fluency in writing, especially on collaborative interactions. There are 2 research questions. The first one is, what are the differences in writing performance between collaborative and individual writing tasks? The study mainly compared from the level of complexity, accuracy, and fluency. And the second question is, how does the level of interaction and engagement with peers influence L2 interaction patterns? The study mainly examined from the task average time, TERS, and AREs. Overall, this study is not only an extension of previous research in this field, but also has pedagogical implications for test-oriented writing classroom in Taiwan.
This is Bingying He, and I'm going to introduce the methodology and the results of the study. The participants of this study are 32 Taiwanese students who study English as a foreign language. They were about to take an IELTS test and were enrolled in an exam-oriented IELTS preparation program. The participants have undergone 3 procedures. In the preparation stage, each participant was first asked to complete a 30-minute institutional version of the TOEIC test, so that the researcher could get a general understanding of the participant's proficiency level. The reason why chosen a TOEIC test is to avoid influence due to familiarity with the IELTS text formats. Then they were asked to complete 2 short writing activities. Participants can get familiar with collaborative writing before the actual writing tasks start. Participants would be assigned into either a mixed proficiency pair or a similar proficiency pair based on their TOEIC test scores. This study has employed a counterbalance design to control the effect caused by a fixed-order treatment. Participants were divided into 4 groups to conduct different tasks, and they follow a different task order. Some complete the individual task first, while some work on the collaborative task first. The researcher has prepared 4 picture ordering tasks using Garfield cartoons to investigate the effects of collaborative writing. There were 2 individual tasks and 2 collaborative tasks. Each participant needed to complete 2 of the 4 tasks. A 20-minute individual writing task and work with a partner to complete a 40-minute collaborative writing task. In collaborative writing, the participants need to record their oral discussions using a mobile phone, and no external assistance was allowed. Now let's talk about data and results. The 48 written texts were coded and analyzed in terms of complexity, accuracy, and fluency levels to investigate their performance differences between collaborative writing and individual writing. The texts were coded into classes, dependent classes, T-units, and error-free T-units. Complexity refers to the ability to use a variety of vocabulary and structures in English. Was measured by classes per T-units and dependent classes per T-units. The results showed that students produced more classes per T-units in individual writing than in collaborative writing. The number of dependent classes per T-units is similar in both individual writing and collaborative writing. The results suggested that participants can produce more complex texts when working alone. Accuracy refers to a lack of error and mistakes in the text. It was measured by error-free T-units per T-unit and errors per T-unit. As we can see, the proportion of error-free T-units is significantly higher in collaborative writing, while the proportion of errors is significantly higher in individual writing. The results suggested that the participants can produce more accurate writing when they're working with a partner. Fluency refers to the ability to write smoothly and effortlessly. It was measured by the total written word number and the number of words per error-free T-unit. The t-test results suggested that the total word number and the number of words per error-free T-unit are significantly higher in collaborative tasks. They are indicating that peers can produce longer texts and write more fluently. With one pair being excluded from this part, the oral discussion of 15 pairs were transcribed and analyzed to answer the second question. It focused on the frequency of 3 types of language-related episodes, namely lexical-focused LREs, magnet-focused LREs, and form-focused LREs. The researcher would also look at how these LREs were resolved. According to Scourge's patterns of interaction, each peer's interaction pattern has been identified and categorized based on their level of engagement and contribution. The researcher has also identified a 5th pattern in the study, cooperative interaction. We can see that about half of all peers were working collaboratively, and they produced the highest number of turns and LRE turns. Dominant passive peers produced the second highest LRE turns, but they have the highest percentage of LRE turns in peer talk. The expert no-voice peers spend more time on the task than collaborative peers, but produce fewer LRE turns. The only cooperative pair had spent the longest time on the task but produced the least number of turns and LRE turns, suggested that a low level of interaction and discussion. In the cooperative pairs, over half of LREs focus on the lexical aspects of language. The number of magnet-focused LREs and form-focused LREs were at a similar level, suggested that the students focus more on vocabulary than on spelling and grammar. Moreover, 73.87% of LREs have been resolved correctly without teacher assistance. Only 9.01% of LREs were resolved incorrectly, and 70.12% of LREs were unresolved, suggested that the collaborative writing is beneficial and has provided students with the opportunities to resolve language issues without teachers' help.
Thanks for being. I am Yongxin Li. It's my turn to introduce the conclusion. Based on the study, the author draws some conclusions. First of all, it seems that collaborative writing facilitates learners producing more accurate texts as the same as previous studies. Secondly, the study shows collaborative writing makes learners have ability to use academic words, although they make errors on connection words. Therefore, in an exam-oriented context, teachers need to teach learners to take more formal academic language use into account first. Thirdly, collaborative writing has a positive effect on accuracy and fluency, but not on complexity. Besides that, learners finish writing collaboratively can produce more LREs and resolve some linguistic issues. When completing writing tasks, task distribution is a common method which has different effects on pairs depending on the nature of learners' interactions. Finally, the study shows collaborative writing is effective for EFL learners who are used to exam-oriented classrooms. There are some limitations of the study and the suggestions for future research. Firstly, paper-based collaborative writing may be only effective for learners who are used to exam-oriented EFL classrooms, because different learners may have various attitudes toward collaborative writing, and this method might be not appropriate for some learners to improve their writing. So the future study could pay more attention on learners' opinions of collaborative writing. In addition, the study has only researched lower linguistic aspects of writing through measures of complexity, accuracy, and fluency. The suggestion for further research is to provide a more holistic view of how paper-based collaborative writing activities affect learners' writing. In this study, there are some advantages. First and foremost, most relevant contents were mentioned in the abstract, including the research gap, the aim, methods, results, and findings. In addition, it was clear for readers to understand the purpose of the study through the literature review and comparisons of previous studies. Moreover, the research questions demonstrated well using qualitative methods to analyze linguistic issues and quantitative methods to analyze written test quality. However, there are some disadvantages. First, there is not much detailed information of participants, such as the number of male and female students and their ages. Second, learners' English proficiency had a large gap ranged from A1 to B2 based on CEFR. Generally, learners' English level is almost the same in a normal exam-oriented classroom. Third, the context of IELTS preparation program and the normal exam-oriented classroom might be different, because not all students need to take part in IELTS tests in exam-oriented classrooms. So we do not know is collaborative writing effective for EFL learners who study in the normal exam-oriented classrooms. Finally, the information of pedagogical implication and conclusion was shown in the discussion part, which made learners hard to read and it would be better to use some subtitles to introduce this information respectively. Here are some references using in our presentation. At the end of our presentation, we have a discussion question. Do you think collaborative writing is appropriate for EFL learners studying in an exam-oriented context, as the case of mainland China? Let's think about it and please feel free to discuss with us. That's all our presentation. Thank you for your listening.